Hey, Nick here, jamming again about some business stuff and why probability doesn't really matter, right? Maybe in casinos, but not in real life. And I'm going to explain why. But first, let me tell you that people typically come to me when they're doing high six or seven, sometimes eight figures, and they're just kind of stuck. They're not really getting where they want to get. And we help them get over it, but probably not the way you think. And I'm going to break that down for you. First of all, you can get all of this. Before I forget, we just put together my unicorn of a CEO, COO, put together this course, unicorncourse.com. And if you're watching, I'm actually on my phone, so I can't type it in. Unicorncourse.com. If you could type that in for me, that would be awesome. If you're watching, see on here. Unicorncourse.com. Goofy URL, but it's just such a phenomenal course. It is how we run our business. And it breaks down in depth what I'm about to tell you, and that is that probability doesn't matter in life, in real life, especially when you're running your business. And here's why. All that matters, right, is exposure to risk, payoff, and consequence. Right? Exposure to risk, payoff, and consequence. And we're always just kind of measuring all of these things. Let me give you an example. Let's say you were getting on a flight, an airplane, right? And there was a 75% chance it was going to get you to your destination safely. That's a good probability, right? That's a bet you would take in a casino. But would you get on the plane? Probably not, because the consequence is much, much higher than losing a few bucks at the casino, right? So you're looking at the payoff, the exposure to risk. If that plane crashes, it's huge exposure to risk and consequence, right? And that's how we make decisions in the real world. And then when we put on paper, we start making decisions based on probability. We start making bad decisions. So we actually there are things that have very low probability of working in our business, but the exposure to risk is low and the payoff is huge. So even though there's maybe a 1 in 100 chance it works, whether it be an investment, a new ad platform, a new delivery system, right? The risk is so tiny, we can actually try it 100 times. And if it pays off once, the reward is greater than the total investment, right? And so think about probability as being something that needs to just stay in casinos, because we have to think about payoff, exposure, and consequence. And we actually built a system, right? If you go to unicorncourse.com, built a system on how we minimize the exposure to risk, maximize the payoff, and make these decisions, because it's not a straight probability thing, right? Again, at a casino, if you have a 1 in 100 chance of winning, but it costs $1 to make a bet and the reward is 5 million, I would play that game all day long, right? Low risk, high payoff, and the consequence is you lose a couple bucks or you make 5 million, right? So it's not a straight up probability thing. And if you operate your business just with like a spreadsheet that shows you probabilities, you're gonna run into some trouble. And so we built this course that shows you how we make these decisions, right? How we measure the payoff, the exposure to consequences, or the exposure to risk and the consequences, and then we make decisions based on that. And we do low probability things, and sometimes we avoid high probability things because the exposure to risk is not worth it. And it's just a matter of building a system that is built around your values and your priorities and what you want out of life. And so think about that, okay? We're way more concerned about wisdom in decision-making in your life and your business than the knowledge or the intelligence of how probability works, okay? Because we cannot ignore the magnitude of consequence in lieu of probability when our business, feeding our family, all that stuff depends on it. So think about that. And you can start weighing this stuff. You go to unicorncourse.com, and it's like $1,000, and you'll save so much money over the course of time, and you'll make a ton of money. It'll pay for itself many times over. Unicorncourse.com, check it out. If you have any questions, drop a comment, and start thinking in terms of not just straight probability, because in the real world it doesn't matter. Think in terms of payoff, consequence, and exposure to risk. Cool.